Yesterday, December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy. The United States of America was suddenly and deliberately attacked by naval and air forces of the Empire of Japan.
Following the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor, the FBI arrested over 1,200 Japanese aliens throughout the United States. The shock of Pearl Harbor and of Japanese cruelty in the Philippines fueled already tense race relations on America's West Coast, including California, Washington, Oregon, and Arizona. Because of racial tensions in the Northwest and fear of alien enemies, new restrictions were passed for all German, Japanese, and Italian residents. These restrictions included the ban on possession of firearms, war materials, radio receiving and transmitting sets, and other contraband, along with a curfew. On February 2, 1942, FDR's special advisor, James Rowe Jr., wrote to the president, warning him to keep his eye out on the Japanese situation, claiming that there was tremendous public pressure to move all of them out of California. 7 days later, Franklin Delano Roosevelt signed Executive Order 9066. Although the order did not identify any particular group, in practice, it was used almost exclusively to intern Americans of Japanese descent. The evacuation order commenced the roundup of 120,000 Japanese Americans to one of 10 internment camps, officially called relocation centers. It is predicted that approximately 2/3 of the prisoners were American citizens.
Relocation centers in unsettled parts of California, Arizona, Utah, Idaho, Wyoming, Colorado, and Arkansas.
George Takei's family had committed no crime. Along with thousands of other law-abiding Japanese Americans, they were taken from their home in California in 1942 and forced to relocate to an internment camp.
For the next 3 years, Japanese Americans acclimated to life behind barbed wire and under armed guard. Uprooted from their lives, they found themselves in strange and uncomfortable environments. They had to adapt to their new situation by adjusting to new living conditions, attending new schools, and finding inventive ways to pass the time. They attempted to maintain a sense of normalcy by attending religious meetings and by finding employment. Employment at the camps was not mandatory, but most adult internees chose to work. Not only was it a way for them to pass the time and to earn a wage, but also internee employment was necessary for everyday operations at the camps. Majority worked full-time, usually around 44 hours per week. For example, internee teachers at Heart Mountain Relocation Center were paid $228 per year, while base salaries for Caucasian instructors were set at $2,000 per year.
Every family was issued a number.
There were 6 units in a barrack. They were non-insulated buildings. It wasn't even this big, but it had a window on one side and a window on the other, one incandescent light. There was no sink, no bathroom, no stove, but it was just a barren room and 5 cots.
The ending of the war and the release of the hostage Japanese Americans in 1945 did not end the psychological, economic, and racial consequences of the internment camps. Many Japanese Americans started working very hard to prove that they were true Americans. There was a division between people of Japanese descent and other U.S. citizens, causing hate, prejudice, and resentment. People were left impoverished because they lost their homes, businesses, and possessions. Many older Japanese Americans were too weak to work, so they had to have their children help them in order to live. Other minorities also began to defend the Japanese Americans and accused the U.S. government of only protecting the constitutional rights of white people. Many minorities were struck with fear because they saw what the U.S. government was capable of.
You know, this war experience spurred many Japanese Americans. They did so much to prove their loyalty. They went to school and they have become very successful people in all walks of life. So from that disaster, I think that it spurred us to become even better people.